You're tuned in to Steve Megatron on Altered Geek Unlimited.
Hello and welcome to Altered Geek. I'm your host, Steve Megatron Phillips, and joining me in this episode are
TF2 and Mike.
and
I'm back! It's me and Mike, the Birdman Dodd.
from the Great White North,
Woo!
America Junior is what you mean.
it's American Light.
Hey man, at least we don't have crazy people trying to run the place. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, you have
Is
had
Rob Ford crazy?
No, he's dead. He died of cancer earlier this year.
But wasn't he still
Nice job.
crazy when he was alive?
Yeah, but he only ran Toronto, as opposed to that lunatic with the fucking hairpiece trying to run your country. Good luck.
And
with that.
Adolf Hitler's cousin.
And
It's
Adolf
better than
Hitler's
Hillary
cousin.
Clinton.
They're both
You
horrible.
Are about the biggest idiot in the world for saying that. Moving on.
They're both evil. It doesn't matter. I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. I like aspects of both parties. I think they're both full of garbage, and I think that they both are going to be worthless as far as presidents. But
Yeah, I'll say
they each have their pros and cons, but they're very little. They're like, I could count on one hand their pros and cons on either one.
Well, look at it this way, and this is completely in jest. Under Hillary, it'll be, well, you kind of know what to expect anyway. Under Donald Trump, you will be living in a Fallout World simulator. Give it about 6 months.
You'll be watching Celebrity Apprentice.
When the bombs start falling, because Jesus. But
Well, he is
although I
buddies
will
with
say-
Russia, so...
Oh my God, did you see his press conference in Mexico?
No.
That's all I gotta say.
We'll forego that. We don't want to bore people with...
Yeah, but yeah, ultimately,
politics.
we are not here to discuss politics, but that's all I'm saying. It's hilarious. Actually, you know what? Maybe just to make things easier here on the show, maybe every time someone mentions politics, they should have to make a donation or something. This way
Yeah,
we
my
will be
Patreon
encouraged to
page.
There you go. If any one of us mentions that, it'll likely be me. You have to make a donation to something. So, no more politics until after November. How's that?
Sounds good.
All right, there we go. Setting it up for you, the people. Because we love you people. Because you join us here each and every week here on the GCRN.
So, what have you guys been up to since we last spoke?
Well, I think I haven't been on the show in like a month or more. Actually, longer than that. Jesus. Doing a lot of stuff with my site, thisweekingeek.net. Been doing nerd newses and whatnot. Kind of took a bit of a summer hiatus to kind of get the good old head on straight, but been working hard with the Terrible Warriors podcast, which is the Roleplay podcast. Actually just launched our Patreon tonight, or as of today when this episode airs. We're almost at our second milestone. So if you want to go to Patreon, I think it's patreon.com/terriblewarriors. You can check that out. Even $1 helps. So I've been doing stuff like that. I've actually been writing a book this past summer, so I'm working on something for Dungeons & Dragons. We'll see if I can live the dream and be a full-fledged role-playing writer. Been playing a lot of video games, actually. I've been playing a lot of Fallout 4. I just finished the Nuka World DLC, which dropped this past week, which is the final piece of DLC in the season pass. It wasn't bad, but let me just say this. There are consequences to being a bad guy in this game, and there are no upsides to being a good guy in this game. So,
Nice.
okay, I have to explain this. Okay, so at one point in this DLC, you gain the ability to become a bad guy, a raider. You can then choose to raid your own settlements that you put time, money, and effort into, right? I build my defenses and my settlements to withstand God. Nothing is walking in my front door that I don't want it to. So, how do you think 5 guys at maybe level, let's say 10, are going to stack up against a settlement that can effectively nuke any creature that so much as looks at my base cockeyed. I have a level 238 level character with max armor, max health. I've got all the buffs in the world. Guess how long my dude lasted against my base at the front door?
No idea.
4 seconds. I flew through the air. I ragdolled. I actually have, if you want to see what I'm talking about, I actually posted a video of this over on my Twitter, which is at Birdman and Dodd. Some of the comments range from, it was hilarious as watching your health bar drain that fast, to comments on my Facebook that say, Jesus Christ, Mike, you have enough defense? No, I should have been dead in 3 seconds as opposed to 4. I had a chance to use 1 health pack. So yeah, it's so counterintuitive as to the point where it seems like if you were playing as a different character in Fallout, it would make a lot more sense, because your character, you can be a good guy or a bad guy, but depending on the role-playing experience you want to do with this, it doesn't fit the narrative. So, plus there's one mission where you can choose to be a good guy and kill all the bad guys. There is no reason to do this except like a couple hundred experience, and at this point in the game, it's not worth it, considering everything in the world will try to kill you at that point. It's so stupid. But I digress. Other than that, catching up on some TV shows, deciding to rewatch the entirety of Buffy the Vampire Slayer again. I forgot how good that show was. Holds up mostly well, but if Buffy were remade today, cell phones would solve a lot of their problems, and the iPhone. And considering how many residents are currently carrying weapons in your country, I don't think vampires are going to stand much of a chance against automatic weapons. Or at least it'll hurt them real bad. So, that's me mostly.
I've been in editing hell. Just got so much editing I have to do.
Yep.
That's pretty much it.
Well, that was insightful.
Yeah. There's a lot of shows that he's editing and producing right now that's in prep for later on.
Well, because I don't plan on being in Kentucky for the rest of the year, so, and I can't exactly put my tower in my suitcase because
It's George Jetson style. You can fold it up.
Yeah. It'll go through the medical detectors. Wow, the metal detectors, and be like, oh my god, it's a bomb. It's the last thing I need.
Do you need a laptop to do your shit?
If I had an extra $300, yeah, I'd get one. I don't have an extra $300.
Could someone get this kid a laptop?
Yeah, right.
Poor people unite.
Hey man, I had a fan donate me a junker laptop a couple years ago, and it helped me out.
Yeah.
Seriously, people, if you have an older laptop kicking around, let them know.
Yeah.
You don't need anything super powerful.
So
it just has to run Audacity and Skype.
No, it doesn't have to be super powerful. It just has to have like a lot of storage, because I have a lot of files.
Well, you don't need all of them. That's what Dropbox is for.
Yeah.
Or OneDrive.
Yeah, OneDrive. It's $70 for the 1 terabyte.
Well, you don't put all of your files on them, genius. You only put what you need. Moving on.
Anyway.
Moving
How
on.
have you survived this long?
I
have
a 1 terabyte hard drive in my computer, so.
Well, I have a 1 terabyte external. I have a 256 gig external. I have a bunch of flash drives. I use OneDrive. I use Dropbox. I use Google Drive, and I use my hard drive. So all my stuff.
Across everything, I think.
I don't have that much. I probably have like 3 gigs across, or terabytes across everything. But
I've got a lot of media, but my actual Twig core files are less than I think a terabyte. But that's just all my elements. That's not completed shows.
Right.
I do tend to keep everything as a just in case.
So do I.
But anyway. back-end information you didn't know, but now you do.
Yeah,
But yeah, so I'm starting school in another week.
Jelly.
Yeah, second to last semester left. It's gonna be nice. Looking for more avenues for money, because I'm broke. um, I've been watching various things take place online, but we can get into that later. And then probably do the comments in a few minutes, but I think kind of first of all, I don't know. I think I'm the only one here that's played Battlefield 1, but
yep.
I've been meaning
I watched
to.
I watched the live streams of the guys that had it when I got my code on the 30th. And I was a sad panda because I was at work, so I had to watch YouTubers that were streaming it, playing the game. So I know the map in and out. I know all the spots to hide. I know all of the tricks that everybody's going to use. I know how many snipers are going to be hiding in what areas. So I played it Tuesday night before we recorded some stuff for December. And the episode or the levels loaded pretty decently for me at the time, but nobody was really on. I mean, there were a couple guys from my clan that were on playing, and I headshotted like both of them within seconds of being in the game, so it was kind of nice. I did not end up going further than that. Like, I played for another half hour, and then I was like, okay, I got to go record in a little bit, so I took a little break, and then I came back and recorded, and then after recording, I went back to the game, played for another 3 hours. It was great. The 31st, when it opened up for everyone, they had so many server crashes that I was glad I couldn't play that day because nobody was able to get on the game like pretty much all day. They were having like
say that I'm surprised.
There were so many server errors, and then I don't like playing Rush on those games. I like playing Conquest where you capture the bases, basically like capture the flag in a sense, but I don't like Rush because I don't like the gameplay. I did enjoy riding the horses in the game, which was actually kind of funny to play as that. When you get on the horse like has a mind of its own in a sense. Like, you can't kill the horse; it just kind of walks around and just stands one place and just watches everything go by until you jump on it. And it decides if it wants to go and jump certain terrain or walk over it or walk around it. Like, when you're moving the horse, like it'll be like, nah, not gonna do that. It'll go and then it'll like move over to the side because I was trying to make him walk off a cliff and it wouldn't let me. And then I was trying to jump something that was entirely too high, and it was like, no, and it made me walk around it. So I was like, oh, okay. But you get to run around with like this shotgun and shoot stuff, or you can toggle the sword and just slice them up like as you're walking by on the horse, and it's actually kind of nice. But I was actually enjoying playing sniper more in this game than I was in Battlefield 4. It was just much more smoother to do in this game, and I felt like I could see everything better in this game, and there weren't so many high-tech elements to the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I really enjoyed the game, but I'm going to play it again later too.
Speaking of betas, over the last 2 weekends, EA, EA and Respawn, made up of former Infinity Ward employees, launched the public beta for Titanfall, which they call the Open Tech Demo. Hard to say about this one. It was only available on Xbox One and PS4. They were not allowing a PC one. Surprisingly, they say they don't want people to spoil stuff in the single-player campaign if someone were to say data mine it. I could see that. I don't agree with it, but whatever.
Yeah, I would have played it if it would have been on PC, but I didn't. I don't have the other systems.
Yeah, like it's a pretty good game, although I was surprised how much Respawn listened to people. After the first weekend, people were complaining how it seems too slow. You don't get your Titans often enough. They seem really squishy, stuff like that. Second weekend, they sped things up a little bit, tweaked some of the kind of damage profiles. It was a lot better game the second weekend, but I'd almost argue the first game's better. But I'll be very curious to see how the storyline content plays out. The multiplayer was still fun as hell. They had 3 modes, one which was like a hard point, one which was like this bounty hunter mode where you had to go around, kill people, deposit money. Whoever got like $6,000 won. And then another one which was basically just pilot versus pilot, which means I didn't care, but I wanted to do the Titans. But yeah, it wasn't bad though. I enjoyed it. I'm a huge Titanfall player. I was ranked pretty significantly in Canada when the game came out for a while, but obviously that slipped because the player base of that game fell out surprisingly quickly, which kind of sucked. I think if that game had a multi-platform launch, it might have done a lot better. But yeah, although like I said, so looking forward to see what happens when this game launches in October on the 28th. I think is when it comes to, I think Battlefield 1 comes out on the 13th. So it's going to be an awesome month for shooters in Broketober, like it is every year, which is the beginning of gaming season and the beginning of the maxing out of the annual credit card. It's a lovely event we all celebrate around here. I don't like it, but hey. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what happens with that. And yeah.
So yeah, I think with that we'll take our first break and we'll come back with some interesting topics after that.
Hey, this is Steve Bloom, and you are listening to the Geekcast Radio Network.
Want to interact with the show? You can contact us in the following ways. You can call the voicemail line 502-526-5821. You can email us feedback@geekcastradio.com. You can visit the episode post on geekcastradio.com or alteredgeek.com. You can get a hold of us on Twitter @alteredgeek. Look for us every week on geekcastradio.com, of course, Stitcher Smart Radio, iTunes, Blog Talk Radio, and alteredgeek.com. And now, back to the show.
And we're back. So I think we're going to start off with the listener comments and then go from there. So last week, we were talking about podcast networks and whether we needed them or not.
Yep.
So Oztron Prime says, great show, guys. As for podcast networks, we all enjoy different fandoms, and if you connect with podcast hosts, it's good to hear from them talking about various subjects. It's also good to fill the podcast queue for the week. I have a Transformers dedicated podcast, but to a off the rails episode from time to time where the hosts can talk about the latest films they've seen or other figures they collect, talking about the same thing week in and week out. You can get draining. He said, it's interesting, Steve. You say you enjoyed Star Trek Beyond more as entertainment than a fan of the series. It feels like a lot of the big franchise films this year have been focused on entertaining with the story and over the story and characters. Full disclosure, I see the live action Transformer films as the same. Yes, there's plot holes, poor character development, and moments when you think WTF. But that's been the franchise since G1. Some fans just forget that. He says, I hope you guys don't stop. Looking forward to the Patreon scheme you guys think up. And unless there's a drop-off in listeners or real life gets in the way, keep it on. And then he lets me know that Google Hangouts won't exist after September 12th. It's going to be replaced by YouTube Live. So, any comments?
I don't know. With me and podcast networks, I've never really cared. I've honestly never used one. Outside of you guys, I couldn't name 3 other podcast networks. I honestly couldn't. they're just, I don't know, just you're a big, like, if I like a show, I like a show. Then again, it's weird. For being a podcaster for almost 10 years, I know remarkably little about some of our own personal culture and some of our own customs. I very much keep to myself in that regard, like in terms of podcast networkings and podcast directories, stuff like that. I always had my other webmasters, like Steve Snowball Sailor, do it, or Steve, in your case, you do it for like Twig.
Yeah.
Because I just don't know that stuff. I've just always kept my nose out of it. But it's weird though. I actually don't listen to a lot of podcasts, surprisingly. I watch a lot more stuff on YouTube than I do audio.
See, I'm in
I
the
always
same
thought it would
boat.
be the opposite.
I'm in the same boat anymore. I watch more of my content than I listen. But I think it's easier for me being at... I mean, I could do either one, but I find that while I'm filling out paperwork, the visuals sometimes are nice to gravitate towards.
See, yeah, audio is great for driving, or if you're doing exercise. If you're doing anything that requires no amount of visual stimulation. If you go to the gym, that's a great time to listen to an audio podcast. Maybe not the best time to sit down and watch the latest episode of The Nerdist, sort of thing, because it requires concentration.
What requires concentration to watch four guys just bitch about stuff? That makes no sense.
Well,
But,
if it's a well-produced show, there'll be lots of visuals with it.
Yes.
And there'll be cutaways and stuff.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different channels and content that I consume throughout the week, and I visit. There's probably about 30 different channels that I frequent throughout the week, which is ridiculous, but I don't know. They're only like anywhere from like 3 to 10 minute shows, so it doesn't really bother me all that much.
Yeah.
One of the bigger ones I watch is like the Philip DeFranco show, but that's because like a lot of my opinions kind of jive with his. I just don't have to voice them because somebody else is doing it. And then he covers a lot of the retard of the internet. So yeah, yeah, I'll get into that in a little bit, but yeah, the podcast networks thing, I'm kind of, and that's why we're going to be going in that new direction of doing like a podcast directory over a podcast network of syndication, because I think that the word syndication kind of has this kind of bad mojo to it anymore.
Yeah, it's got kind of a connotation to it.
Yeah, so as a directory, then I can say that I'm filtering based on good quality content, and it's not being overloaded by like an iTunes or, something like that. Which is why I'm working on that in the background. So Jedi Disaster says, I don't pay a great deal of attention to a lot of podcast networks. Honestly, the bigger the network, the less I tend to care. Something like Podcast One that just has a ton of different podcasts with no real big reason why I tend to tune out everything not on my radar. Prefer a network that is geared toward certain fandoms like geek stuff, sports stuff, etc. Like I could care less about political podcasts, so putting it on your network does nothing for me.
Plus,
so
if you were to run a political podcast, you run the chance of alienating half your audience too.
Which is why if you want to do one, you're better off finding a network that will host it.
Yep.
Exactly, yeah.
So, and then Films for Fun says, it is real hard for me to get excited about the new Star Trek TV show when it is only going to be on CBS's streaming service. Unless they decide to make it accessible elsewhere, I won't be watching it.
Okay, so the CBS streaming service stuff with Star Trek, to my knowledge, it's still going to be available on iTunes to download.
Actually, it won't.
Really?
No, it is exclusively. It is exclusively on CBS Go, or CBS All Access. It will not be on any other service at all, unless you're outside of North America. And then, that case, you'll get it on Netflix. So, because CBS All Access doesn't work outside of North America. So anybody that's in North America, you have to pony up and pay for their $6 a month service to
Now,
get it.
will I be able to access this in Canada?
CBS All Access?
Yeah.
Yes, North America.
Okay. Wow, that's
The whole-
weird because CBS has so many licensing agreements with so many different networks up here in Canada, that really, really surprises me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna watch it because the first episode's gonna be on cable television on CBS, and then they're gonna move it after the first episode to the CBS All Access app, which I would much rather see it on television than on the app. I get kind of why they're doing it on the app, because it pushes people that want Star Trek to go to the app, because they're going to be moving all Star Trek content off of Netflix and onto the CBS All Access periodically through the contract expirations, in order to get you to sign up for CBS All Access. Now, myself, I gotta say, I love Trek, but I'm not gonna pay for another service. I already got stuck. Like, if I didn't have to pay so much for Comcast to bundle local channels and HBO to my internet, that's already overpriced for slower speeds than what I was paying before, I would be more apt to pay for an app for a specific station to watch their content. However, being that I don't have that option and I still get their channel on Comcast and don't really get a choice in the matter, I won't be ponying up that $6.
Yeah, I can't see myself going out of my way for this, because what does CBS have? Crime procedurals 9 times out of fucking 10. It doesn't even have Supergirl anymore. Why the hell do I care? So Star Trek, that's not enough. Honestly, CBS, congratulations, you've just encouraged piracy.
That's I hate saying it, but I'm kind of in agreement. Plus,
Yeah.
I'm not enthused about the ship. I think the ship's utter garbage because it's from Attack of the Titans or something from the 1970s, like right after the original series tanked. So like I have no love for the ship. In the footage we saw of the ship, I know it's raw, but I think it's garbage. And then they said that the first officer, number 1, is going to be female, like in akin to the original series pilot, the Cage.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be the same character, and they're not going to reveal the name of the character until the end of the season. And they're like, it's not going to have time travel, which I'm fine with, but they're going to have more up-to-date technology than the original series. Why they made it 10 years before the original series, and they're going to still have characters from the original series show up, like Scotty and Spock and characters like that. I don't know how they're going to finagle that.
Hologram.
It should have been after the Kid. It should have been after Star Trek 6.
That's what I was thinking. They should have had it, around the Enterprise C timeline.
Yeah, because no one knows anything about it. We know the captain's name was Rachel. That's all we know.
We know what happened around the time of the Enterprise B, and then nothing between there and the Enterprise C, and then nothing between C and D, really.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's plenty of time to play in there, but I wish they would have just gone to the freaking future and just left alone the past. Like, they keep digging in that hole.
Yep. It's just the Enterprise, no bloody A, B, C, or D.
Well, this is the Discovery, the USS Discovery.
Yeah, I know.
They should have made it. They should have made it a Galaxy-class starship and then had it.
See, I'd be okay if they did more of like the Voyager route, where they went with a smaller science class vessel and did exploration and diplomacy. But
they could have given it that basically the redesign. I can't remember what class starship that it was, but it was the one that they used initially for Star Trek Online. But it was supposed to be like a new age version of the Constitution class, but it wasn't called that. It was like an Excalibur class or something like that.
Yeah.
They should have made that ship be the new ship, and then just not had it be Enterprise, had it be Discovery, and then move it into the future. Star Trek Online, people, come on. And they're going to change the uniforms again, even though, like, 10 years later, yeah. So, I'm gonna still watch it. I'm still gonna give it a shot. I'm not gonna be paying for the app, so you can infer what you will from this. Unless they decide to give media people free access, I'm not gonna be paying for it. Um, I know it sounds petty, but I don't have any.
Hey, that's the way it goes.
I have my movies, and that's all I care about. And the Star Trek Beyond, I did agree this was better than Into Darkness, vastly better. And it felt like an original series episode, just extended, and it didn't. I watched it for the entertainment purposes. I'm sure there were plot holes. I know there were plot holes. I didn't care. The film was actually good.
Yeah.
And it was original. There were aspects pulled from other films still. Like the Enterprise crash landing, the saucer section type of thing from Generations, and the Enterprise being destroyed in space, like Star Trek 3. And then an element from Star Trek 4. But they were, again, it was original enough with adding nods and not like blatant ripoff.
See, what I don't understand about all these exclusive streaming services to whatever network, like AMC or ABC or NBC or C, it's like Steve is saying and like Mike is saying, who's really going to pay for just seeing one show? Now, don't get me wrong. I've looked into the CBS app. They've got other shows on there that I would watch that have long been since canceled and stuff like that, like some of their more classic shows from years and years ago. I would watch that, but I'm not going to sit here and pay an extra $6-7 when they should just be making deals with Hulu and Netflix where I pay under $25 a month for both those services combined, instead of having their own special app service bulls crap.
I agree. I'm not doing the app stuff. I just don't care. I'm already subscribed to Netflix, and it's not like I'm not a Netflix lover. It's borderline whether I'm going to keep it or not. I don't really watch anything on it.
The selection keeps getting worse and worse.
It does. It does really, and I hate saying that.
I'm
but
not
I
even
get to see
that my VPN doesn't work anymore to access U.S. Netflix anymore, because there's not much on there anymore that I care about.
Yeah, I mean, I own most of what I want to watch, so it doesn't really bother me at this point. So, moving on to the actual garbage of the internet, maybe we should talk about YouTube's new decision.
What they do now?
You didn't hear? It's been all over Twitter like all freaking day.
No, I didn't hear.
Actually, for the last few days, they're demonetizing people's content.
Yeah,
and
I heard about that like a week ago.
Yeah, it's because they're wanting to be advertiser friendly, which I find to be kind of a crock. Because it's funny because, like I said, I was watching like the Philip DeFranco show, and he was talking about it, and at the time that he knew about, while he was recording it, 1 and then up to 12 got demonetized, and then he found out today that there were 40 of them demonetized. That it went back longer than the last few days. It's just that nobody knew about it because YouTube changed their rules, or actually more so decided to start enforcing these policies. So it says, while our policy of demonetizing videos due to advertiser-friendly concerns hasn't changed, a YouTube spokesperson says, we've recently improved the notification and appeal process to ensure better communication to our creators. In other words, we'll just there's no rhyme or reason why they're getting yanked. Like, I mean, they have a guideline that you're supposed to keep to, but there's still no rhyme or reason, because there's ones where you get to watch somebody being, with goat's blood all over them, and that's okay. But, somebody talking about...
That's because it's a YouTube Red series, and that's okay.
No. There's, like, actual YouTube, like, just plain YouTube videos. Like, they're...
Well,
They're censoring... They're censoring people, and it's kind of crap because like they have this particular set of guidelines, and I'm trying to find it right now.
It's like you're not supposed to swear anymore, or you're supposed to.
Yeah, you're not supposed to swear. You're not supposed to talk about anything politics. You're not supposed to talk about anything
controversial.
Anything that could be considered something. You can't mention anything, even if it's verbal and there's no visual. You can't talk about it. So basically, they're saying screw your First Amendment. It doesn't matter. You have to make just BS content and top 10 lists. Like that's pretty much what they're telling.
You can do all the Minecraft Let's Plays you want.
Well, and the other thing is that they don't want violence or like any of that stuff. So what does that mean for people that live stream video games and try and make money off it?
Well, like I said,
because technically that's violence. And well, because like I'm thinking like Battlefield players, Call of Duty players, that where you're watching somebody getting gored and beheaded or shot, and you're watching the blood spray and the middle of the game.
It's not going to affect publishers. It will affect smaller YouTubers.
But they're hitting the bigger YouTubers right now.
It ain't going to affect fucking PewDiePie. I promise you it won't. And here's why. They're not going to shoot one of their major sources of income. The thing is, they want to take out people that are voices that are gaining traction. One of the people I follow on this, it's a channel called ETC. Now, these guys used to be associated with Machinima.
I know who you're talking about.
And they covered it, and they had a really good example. They did North Korea. They had a video where there was this blogger who got invited to North Korea, and his video is still monetized. Yet someone who posts a video talking about the war crimes about North Korea and all their bad practices towards people and everything, their video got demonetized. That's all sorts of fucked up. So it's so dumb in the regards that they want to make it a safe space for advertisers, but they're not doing it for content creators. Like, someone had a really good idea, be like, why not let advertisers choose who they want to go with, as opposed to making it the onus on the content creator? And like, it's just it's so dumb. I can see this imploding real fast. I see a backpedal on this within weeks.
Well, my whole thing with this whole system that they're enforcing now, more or less, it kind of reminds me of the situation with the Nostalgia Critic a while back.
Yeah.
Where they were...
Where's the fair use?
Yeah, the fair use.
Which is so funny because they don't even understand what the hell that means. But that's a topic for a different day. But go on.
Well, it's like I actually had, and I talked about it last week, I had a video, or 2 videos that I bought. I had intros made using the Battlefield 1 setup with saying Altered Gaming instead of Battlefield 1 at the end of it. And I didn't know when I was buying it on Fiverr that somebody created these templates and was giving them away for free as long as you gave, a credit in the bottom of your description of whatever video you had it in. And I was like, reasonable, but I didn't know that, so I got flagged and I got a strike. And I couldn't live stream. So I had to contact that guy, let him know what was going on, showed him my receipts for everything and the interactions, and he reversed it and he says, you might want to try and get your money back. And he says, who had it? And I sent it, to the guy in Fiverr, because I'm like, look, I didn't steal your crap. I don't even know how to do this, and nor do I have the software to edit it. So it's, I bought it. And so he reversed it and I just put the credits in there. But it was just the way the stupid stuff works on YouTube. I don't think there's any rhyme or reason to a lot of it.
I use YouTube now for reference. I don't even...
Well, see...
I mean, I know you guys watch YouTube all the time. You guys, have your shows and your series and your little video things that you like watching, but I am pretty much so far out of the YouTube game. I think I watch 3 Transformers toy reviewers on there every now and then when I see a figure that I want to see them talk about. But, I just use it for reference now. I'm so over YouTube, and this whole non-advertising thing or monetization thing, it just seems like they're trying to basically not allow anyone to get noticed because of a YouTube video. You see
it's gonna change how things work, that's for sure.
Well, they're not saying you can't be noticed, you just can't make any money.
Yeah.
Well, it's because too many people got rich too fast. And you'll notice this happened with Blip years ago too, in a different sense. When Blip imploded, it's because Blip was really light on fair use, so you could use whatever clips you wanted to without reprisal from certain corporations or movie studios or whatever. You could pretty much do whatever the hell you wanted. On YouTube, the system has always been broken in terms of how you report someone for copyright violation, DMCA strikes, and the like. Now, with them trying to create YouTube into a literal safe space, they're trying to limit what content can become profitable. So it's going to take down. Now, I'm glad it'll take down a lot of the drama channels, because we need a little less drama alert and Keemstar. But it also, what's going to happen to, this was a great example, once again brought up by ETC. So if you can't cover news items that are controversial, how's CNN going to monetize stuff? That's funny.
Well, the other thing is CNN is like, or any of these news organizations are watered down anyway. You don't get the entire facts. You get whatever political vantage point that they want you to see.
Yeah.
So when you get these YouTubers that happen to
like
get their
outlet, though.
Well, I'm just saying, like, if you get these YouTubers that are actually like getting the actual information or the actual footage, and then they're kind of, reporting on it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're asking for more or less opinions rather than reporting, that one side's evil over the other, like news does, depending on which one you watch. And I don't know. I trust the YouTubers that are the higher up ones that report this stuff more than I do the news outlets. So in that sense, like, I find that system to be broken too. So I feel like they're trying to censor anybody that's not following the norm.
Well, and it's also interesting too, as they talk about how they want to censor other types of content. Like, for example, once again brought up by ETC, they're talking about these prank channels.
Those I think are just tasteless.
Well, some of them have these extreme violence or even sexual content, yet other ones do the same thing, like Prank Academy, are like, one of them has a girl setting herself on fire, for Christ's sakes, and that's a YouTube Red series, and that's definitely going to stay where it is. But other people that do maybe a little less harmful stuff, maybe still a little extreme, they'll get flagged. Like, we're only seeing the beginning of this now. We're not going to see the full picture of this for at least a month till we see who gets nailed by it, how badly it affects the bottom line. But if these practices stay where they are right now, you'll see another huge shift in kind of YouTube. Now, YouTube has gotten better in allowing people to use clips and other quote-unquote fair use content. But, excuse me. But I don't know. I think the days of the YouTube star, this is probably, I'm not going to say the beginning of the end, but things are changing. And they're not necessarily changing for the better.
The time is nigh.
Yeah. Things are changing, man.
See, I knew when YouTube was like, I mean, I had the option of going podcast or video. At the time, I had no inclination to do video. I have the want to do it now, but that's because I've been learning about it and I really enjoy it. And I don't necessarily want to do it as a get rich quick. Would I like to make money off it? Yes. I would be lying if I said I wasn't. But I also want to put out good content, and if I don't feel like I put out good content, I don't expect to get anything from it. I don't want to put out garbage. I don't want to put, like all these crap reaction things or these crap, prank things that are out there, or shock crap. I mean, you
want your content to mean something.
Yeah, I mean, I want good content, and I want it, if I don't feel like it's going to contribute to something, I don't want to do it. So, I mean, and yes, I'm doing live streams and I've got to monetize, but like, if they get something, great. If they don't, they don't. I'm not worried about it. I'm not relying on it to be a source of income. I'd be stupid not to monetize it, but I don't I'm not gonna like base it off that, you know, that whole model, because one, I don't trust any of these services anyway, because at any point they can just yank it out from under you and then you're screwed. So I wish I would have jumped on the bandwagon sooner, but like I wouldn't want to be that kind of a public figure, you could say.
Yeah, see, I would do more video stuff. I do some. I have done some live streams, and I pretty much just want to use YouTube to tell stories, to hang out, to build a community. I know I'm never going to put in the effort to be as awesome as some of the other YouTubers because I hate video. I generally do. I really do. In fact, if I do video content, you'll only ever see my face in vlogs. You'll probably never see it otherwise, because that's the type of attention I don't want and or need. I'm perfectly happy being just a voice out there, because I don't need to be one of these public figures that gets doxxed or worse. Like, I don't want to be swatted.
Yeah.
I find that ridiculous that people do that.
Yeah, like there's a certain like I'm not afraid to admit this. There is a reason I do not talk about certain topics in gaming on my shows. I know enough not to poke the goddamn bear. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same boat. I don't really want to agitate people or get to that point. So like, I avoid topics. If there's certain things I feel strongly about, I will talk about them. But like in that sense, like I never talk about religion. I never talk about politics.
See, I think it's okay to make a broad political joke. For example, we all can agree.
Which we did.
Yeah, which we did, because we can all agree Donald Trump is pretty fucking stupid. But
and I'm not a fan of Hillary either. I think they're both screwed up. So
yeah, like I can't give you anything specific about her other than the fact that she's real shady and shit, and looks like that bitch from Harry Potter who's really shady. So that's all I can really say about her. But I wouldn't go into any reason on the Democratic Party or the Republican, because I'm pretty sure both sides have really good points. But it's your country, and your country's full of nutty people. So I don't want to piss off the wrong nutter. Because that very well could happen, and people do that. People get.
I'm sure Canada has a few macadamia nuts.
Well, and the other thing too.
Yeah, but you hear about it more from the U.S. than you do anywhere else.
Well, and the other thing too is like, anytime like your address shows up or like random stuff, because I'm going through the process of cleaning that up. Mm-hmm. In the event that somebody decides that they hate me for some reason, I haven't given anybody a reason yet to hate me, but if people do, I don't want them finding where I live and harming my family. So
yeah, like it's fucked up that you have to think about that sort of thing. Now, hell, I mean, it's a thing on YouTube where people will show up at their favorite YouTuber's house. PewDiePie's had people show up at his house in Spain with their families, thinking it's cool to show up. Like, there are a couple of YouTubers I watch. They're like esports people. They're talking about people went to the FaZe Clan house, and they're like, okay, that's cool. I mean, I figured out there's a YouTuber I watch, and he vlogs everything he does. And there's enough information in his vlogs. They have like a team mailbox where you can send, them gifts and shit. And I've done that more than a few times. But just watching their stuff, I figured out what their routine is. If I was a crazy person, it wouldn't be hard to just be there when these guys happen to show up. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it's crazy to think about. That's the type of world that we now live in. And it's not unusual to hear these stories coming out of the U.S., which is really unfortunate. I mean, as much as I rag on your country, I point to your news and say, prove me wrong. But it's, I don't know. I mean, these are problems we didn't have to think about 5 years ago. Just 5. Even 3 years ago, we weren't thinking about some of these things. Nowadays, your information is out there anywhere and everywhere for people to find.
Oh, I know.
I mean, hell, Steve, do you remember when I met you during the summer? I was mentioning, hey, I found your house on Google Street View. Is that your car? And you're like, even that's a safety concern. And that's weird to even think about. That Google can be used as a tool like that. Hell, even weaponized.
Yep.
I mean, I don't mean to take this down a really dark and disturbing path. We like to keep things light on this show. But you really got to think about that, too. It's a dangerous world out there.
Yeah, the internet's a freaky place, especially lately.
Yeah, and it sucks because this is a thing that has brought so many of us joy in the last couple of years. Hell, my friends and my fans sent me on vacation because I was going to have a mental fucking break in July.
Well, and that's the other thing that I kind of look at with the internet too is like, and I had to explain this to a relative because they got let go from a particular job that they had, and I'm being as vague as possible here, because they ran their mouth on Facebook,
Real.
with highly controversial topics, on a few different fronts. It's so fun trying to be vague and explain what you're trying to say. They managed to get themselves caught and fired because this particular person that they infuriated took it to their job, and their job put them on probation with the assumption that they either lose a particular type of license and or resign. And so they resigned, and then these people are still being dicks and coming after the place that they worked, even though they no longer work there. And since he's had to go like completely blacked out on social media so that he's not on there anymore. But the damage has been done, and this is why I tell my family, if you're on social media, you have to assume that it's out there forever.
Yep.
So if you don't like what you're writing, I mean, yeah, you might feel very passionate about something politically right now. You're better off shut your mouth. Because it's going to come back and somebody's going to get mad. They're either going to hunt you down because like he got death threats and he got various things like that. So, I told them, I said, you're better off just keeping your nose clean. I says, coming from somebody who's in social media and who tries to live publicly, since everybody's public anymore, you might as well just control the information that's about you anyway.
Right.
Rather than being the one that's being written about. So I control my information, so therefore I only put out what I know is going to be okay. Yeah. I keep my opinions to myself, and I talk to like-minded people about whatever the opinions may be, but I do never put them in writing. And that's what these people have done, and that's why they're being bit hard. And that kind of goes, it's the same thing with YouTubers, and this particular person that they infuriated was a podcaster whom I'd never heard of. That's local, so that ought to tell you something. But they had enough of a friend base that they managed to get their little army against them. So that's the other thing I had to explain to them too. I'm like, people that are on YouTube or podcasters or whatever, they do have friends, they do have following. If you slight them, their army will come after you. If they will defend their friends and their whoever they're looking up to, but they can just easily destroy them. So it's like it's a very double-edged sword. So you either have to be just completely fake about it, or you have to be genuine. And so I would rather be genuine and not be a dick and have everybody know exactly who I am that they're dealing with. And I don't know. I don't understand people sometimes.
Yeah, it's weird, man. It really is. Like, I've always been of the mindset, don't put anything out there you won't be afraid to say to your mother's face, or something you wouldn't be having to be willing to be printed on a billboard. Now, fortunately, the worst experience I've ever had is I've had some obsessive fans before. I had a stalker for 2 years. Luckily, the worst I ever got was text messages and some really weird phone calls. It was a girl, so it wasn't so bad. Now, the most positive negative experiences I got was someone sent me a picture of their boobs once. That was pretty cool. But what if that had been something else?
But you live on the internet. You can see boobs anywhere.
That's true, but what's to say...
He's married. He can see them, too.
That's true, but what's to say if this person wanted to get me in trouble for something?
That is true.
there's so many ways that can go wrong. And who's to say, right? So it's weird. Like I said, we live in dangerous times. It's easy to weaponize the internet. And now we have like cyber-bullying laws, which are great. Those absolutely have to exist. Stuff like that. But I don't know. It's so hard to sort all things out throughout the noise of the internet. And because, Steve, you've got a young family, you now live in a very interesting point where you now have to teach your kids cyber safety. And I know right now in Ontario, where I live, my province, we're talking about a new sex education curriculum, and they're talking about telling kids, okay, there's this thing known as sexting. Don't do it. You're technically distributing child porn and stuff like that.
Well, and see, this is part of why I'm going to be homeschooling my children, is because I don't want them. Yes, I want them to be exposed to the technology, but I want to be the one that controls that exposure. I don't need some outside source or some punk kid that their parents don't police them, teaching my kid bad habits. And so knowing how things were in my day when the internet was like new and like Beavis and Butthead was hilarious, and you know, you when the little pointer finger with the hand that looked like it was clicking on something, you could pretend pick their nose, and you know, it was just all fun and games back then. But and that was when I was a kid, like, and I was going through school, and now it's just so freaking different. I just don't want my kids exposed to it, so I would rather that I expose them to it later. I mean, I'm still exposing them to some of it now, but like it's controlled, like very controlled, and I have everything locked down because I know what people can get around. I deal with, you know, IT stuff at work. I deal with it here. I know what I got around as a kid. So like I'm not stupid in that realm. So like I'm very careful. Even some of the shows that we watched as kids, like I'm not letting my kids watch right now because I started out letting them watch some of that, and then I wasn't liking the habits that were coming from it. So like a lot of this, like the internet is a very scary place for kids nowadays, and I think that's why they're all so screwed up now.
Well, how old is Ian right now?
He's 3.5.
Okay,
but
he's 3.5. So by the time he gets between 7 and 11, you could start at that point. You can teach him, and you.
Oh yeah, well,
him, you know, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, 2 and 3 and 1, 2 and 3-year-olds should not be watching dinosaurs and all that stuff.
Yeah,
See,
I agree.
I disagree, but only because the fact I think my parents gave me enough common sense. I was able to figure that out. But and I'm not calling your kid stupid, Steve, just to get that clear. It's everybody's different.
Well, like my kid is very smart, and he knows what he's allowed to do and what he's not allowed to do.
Yeah, he's not.
And I give him the room to do, because when he goes to like my mom's or he goes to, you know, my in-laws, like he knows what he's allowed to do and what he's not allowed to do. So he stays within that defined area. But I also want to control it. You know, it's more so the public school system I just don't trust.
Yeah.
And it's because
school nowadays is not what it was when we were in school.
Dude, it was rotten when I was in school.
Well, I'm saying, but it's gotten 10 times worse in the last 15 years.
Yeah, and I don't want my kid in it. So, yeah, so I would rather teach my kid about everything and in that sense. And I know, like I said, I know what I got away with as a kid that my parents never knew about.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because I knew more than they did. Whereas I am staying on the opposite side of that. I'm still going to be the one that knows everything over my kids. Will I let them know and teach them the proper ways of things as they get older and can understand it? Yes. Because I have to give them that freedom to choose to do right. But I will not, you know, let them be taught by other kids, more or less.
Right.
Yeah.
So this past week, I'm trying to see when this story was posted. Oh, it was actually a couple weeks ago. Yeah, it was about. Yeah, it was last week. It was the 23rd of August. A story was posted on Facebook. I found it somehow. I think it was through my girlfriend Jen. I don't remember. About this little girl named Maddie who is, fighting through cancer. Her birthday is September 4th, and she's gonna have a My Little Pony party. And I think Jen had said something about, oh, we should do something for her or something or other. So Jen actually drew her My Little Pony picture and mailed it. Basically, it's one of those stories where all the kid wants is birthday cards. I've seen tons of these stories online in the last 5 or 6 years, but this little girl is going through cancer. She's, all that stuff, and she's going to have a My Little Pony party. So Jen drew her something and mailed it to her. Her birthday, Maddie, her birthday is September 4th. I wanted to take it one step further, and I messaged Tara Strong on Facebook, and I said, hey, I know that we see stories like this all the time, but if there's anything you or any of the other cast could do, send her a message or something, that would be great. I contacted the reporter of the story and gave her what information I had, so we'll see what happens. I find myself now in the last, 3-4 months trying to find more positive stuff in the world than negative, because there's just too much negative stuff out there, and it's
I agree.
Really, really depressing. So if I can somehow help out somebody or do something for somebody or try to get people into contact with other people for like a special gift, a birthday MP3 or something, or a birthday voice message for a little girl who's suffering through cancer, sure, I'll do whatever I can, so. And the crazy thing is this story comes out of Grand Rapids, Michigan.
That figures.
So yeah, Maddie's birthday is September 4th. If anyone wants to send, all she wants is birthday cards. If anyone wants to send her a birthday card, I know we're recording this September 1st. It'll be out September 2nd. But hey, a birthday card coming late is better than nothing. The address in the story, and I'll have Steve link the story in the show notes. The address in the story is Maddie Pagel, P.O. Box 8043, Grand Rapids, Michigan, 49518. So if anyone wants to send her a birthday card, please do so.
Address will be in the show notes, I'm guessing.
Yep. The link will be too, yeah.
I'll put it under a header on the site.
Okay.
So yeah. I was going to do a couple different topics, but obviously for timing reasons. I guess I will talk about, and this one Mike has no idea about.
Which one? There's two of us here.
Both.
Oh.
I posted this one and he's like, what, you're leaving?
No, you posted that in a DM. Yeah.
So I put as a topic header of leaving the GCRN. And this is like a multifaceted topic. Because I was trying to figure out why certain people were leaving in the first place, because we've had a couple different syndicated shows leave. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I was also thinking about it, and I'm like, this last year or two, my head hasn't really been in the game, and I was thinking about it, I'm like, how can I leave without leaving? But I was also thinking about, and I'm kind of looking to see what people think about this, but I was looking to separate this particular podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts?
What the hell are you talking about?
Well, he wants to make Ultra.
I want to basically break
separate from GCRN.
I have no idea what you're saying.
He wants to take all.
Basically, I want to build it as a new
GCRN. How do you not know what that means?
Well, let him explain. Continue,
well,
Steve. You were getting somewhere.
Well, I was saying basically I was thinking about breaking it off and doing it as its own entity, separate of GCRN, so I have the freedom to move wherever it may need to do to grow.
Oh, okay. I read you.
And in the same token, if I'm trying to play in the video realm too, I feel like
Just taking it to YouTube.
Well, I mean, I'm going to do some of it on YouTube too, but I'm thinking if I utilize and I rebuilt alteredgeek.com when I had to go through that tremendous move between hosts only to move back, I had to rebuild the site. And so in doing so, I choose a new template where I could do the I can put the podcasts, I can put the video cast, I can put my gaming, I can put my channel stuff with my playlist, and I can put the live streams, like all of it built into the same site, as well as like links to all my channels and all that stuff. And it would have the same content as or comments in the same posts as what's been on Geekcast Radio. I'm just thinking about moving it there where it's got its own exposure separate of Geekcast Radio. So I can build that brand because I feel to some degree like we're over covering a lot of the same stuff between shows. There's a lot of overlap, and it's not intentional. Like, we all have our own things that we're talking about, and that's fine. I'm not criticizing anybody's show on the network. I think because everybody has their own unique voice and has their own content. I don't know, since I've been thinking about it for a while, and it's been eating at me. And I think that's part of why some of the shows got weird for a little bit, was because I was kind of like, I don't really know why I'm doing this. And then like I went on vacation, and then I had a time to cleanse and to kind of think. And then I was listening to podcasts while I was driving. So it was kind of nice to have a little bit of a refresher that wasn't something I was producing. So yeah, I'm kind of thinking about doing that, but I'm not entirely sure. I'm just kind of wondering what people think about it first.
I'll go wherever you'll have me, buddy. I'm your ride or die, man.
So you're like that fly on the wall. You just kind of...
I'm in it till the end, dude. I'm your Huckleberry. Whatever, man.
Wow. Friggin' Canadians, dude. What the hell?
Loyal to the
Speaking of things that hate us, the year 2016.
Yeah. Oh, we are the dreamers of the dreams.
Yes. We've had a lot of freaking deaths this year. Like, of like, important, famous people.
Mm-hmm.
And the year ain't over yet?
I know. It's ridiculous.
Someone better go give Mel Brooks a hug real quick. Just in case.
Well, we've already lost a Star Trek cast member, or two of them, actually. Anton Yelchin and Leonard Nimoy.
Yep.
The oldest guard with the newest guard. And then we've got...
Gene Wilder.
Gene Wilder. We've got a couple of musicians.
Yep.
I think.
Prince died this year, yep.
Yeah, I thought it was him. And then I knew the other one. He was
David
in...
Bowie?
Yeah, David Bowie. That was the one I was... Yeah.
Muhammad Ali.
I mean, we've lost a lot of important people this year that are icons of their industries.
Yep.
Dr. Joy Brown died today, I think it was.
I don't know who that is.
She's a famous radio psychologist and host. Very, very famous.
R2D2's
Kenny Baker, yep.
He passed away. So I mean, we've lost quite a few, icons this year, which is kind of ridiculous that this year sucks.
2015 and 2016 have really sucked when it comes to celebrities.
Well, no one lives forever, right?
Wow.
It's unfortunate. It really is.
There are some people that look like they never age, so.
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage, William Shatner.
Cindy Crawford, who looks like she's still 30 even though she's 50-something.
Well, that's she's a witch.
That's prosthetics.
Ew.
She put her new face on. There's nothing under there, kids. Dust.
Yeah.
She's like
Just
a Terminator,
dust.
man.
No, she's not a Terminator. It's like that creature from Men in Black 1. There's something underneath the skin.
The Edgar mask, yep.
So yeah, I couldn't help but comment on that. I had to watch Willy Wonka after Gene Wilder died. I got to watch some of his other movies this week too, but
I remember watching that Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory when I was a kid, guaranteed at least once a week from grade 3 till probably about grade 6.
what's funny is I can watch that before I can watch Wizard of Oz. From like the old school movies. Like I
I've
can't.
never seen The Wizard of Oz, surprisingly.
I've seen it, I just don't like it. My wife likes the movie, but we both agree we like Willy Wonka more. And my son, we showed it. He's seen it before, but like we showed it to him the other night. We're like, "How would you like to stay up and watch Willy Wonka?" He's like, "I like that movie." And like he gave no craps about the movie until Willy Wonka shows up at the beginning. Like so, the first like half hour, he's like, "I don't want to watch this part." He's like, "Where's Wonka?" and we're like, good kid. And we moved it to that point, and he's like, "This movie's funny," because he's watching all the bad kids get like hauled away in the little Oompa Loompas, like compared to the craptastic movie of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory that came out years later.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
That was horrendous.
I liked Deep Roy in it, but that was about the only good part.
I thought when the name first came out that it was going to be like Charlie's Chocolate Factory, like a sequel. But they were like, no, this is what the actual book was supposed to be. And I'm like, no, screw you people.
But say, I don't think we read the same book then.
Yeah. The first one, though, like that whole scene in the beginning where Gene Wilder's doing the thing with the cane, he improvised that whole scene.
That's pretty amazing.
I watched a quote because I was watching YouTube videos of him like just giving interviews, and it was like from 3 years ago. And he said he came up with the idea, and they let him do it, and he did it in one take. And because they didn't want him to hurt himself and have a liability,
There was
so
something. Sorry.
he wanted to do the thing with the cane, get it stuck in a brick, and then have the cane get stuck, and then him tip over and do the somersault and jump back up. He says because it gives the illusion, the continuing thing to the plot of the movie of you never know if he's lying or telling the truth. So it starts right off the gate with that question.
There's one thing that's always stuck with me from this movie, and me and my friend Scotty just really felt a connection to this. When they're in the tunnel and they're rowing the boat, and then he does that really loud, he's like, the rowers keep on rowing, and like he goes into that weird little rhyme thing.
Mm-hmm.
He makes this noise, and I've never forgotten it. He's like, woo! Like that.
Like a pre-R2-D2.
Yeah, it's like Gene Wilder's R2, and it's always stuck with me like over the years. But there's so much of that movie's attitude. I've loved the set design in that movie because there's so many magical parts about it. You know what, man? A lot of I know some theaters this weekend are showing Blazing Saddles and Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory this weekend. So if you get a chance, check your local cinemas. I think they may be showing it. Otherwise,
there is one locally to me that is.
So you should go, and yeah, I mean, I might watch Young Frankenstein this weekend, but I've also never seen Blazing Saddles. So
I've never seen Blazing Saddles. I've seen Young Frankenstein once.
Same here, yeah. I liked what I saw. I thought it was
I think he wrote it.
That wouldn't surprise me. I think he's in the producers as well.
I'm pretty sure he wrote it, and then he pitched that Mel Brooks directed.
Mm-hmm.
Another movie I saw with Gene Wilder that I really liked, it was him and I'm trying to think of his name. It's gonna drive me crazy. Black guy, help me out. Funny.
What decade?
Richard Pryor.
That's it. See no evil, hear no evil.
That was a good movie.
Holy shit, was that?
But I guess he was. I guess from what Gene Wilder said, he was rotten to work with on that film.
Which sucks. Is that movie so funny? I'm still watching that after this podcast.
Because I guess he was like drugged up and late, like hours late to the set.
It was Richard Pryor being Richard Pryor. Crazy ass man. Funny though.
Good old Gus Gorman.
I wonder who's the next big celeb to go. Honestly, I've had Morgan Freeman in my death pool for years.
No, we can't lose Morgan Freeman. He's a national treasure.
I'm saying it, man. I'm saying 5 years. 5 years or less.
Well, him and Shatner both.
Him
I mean,
or Clint Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood, I'm surprised ain't dead yet.
That man is so tough. I'm pretty sure he eats stuff and shits bullets.
No,
that man is invincible.
He told Satan he wasn't going.
Yeah, pretty much. I wouldn't. He'd be the only guy Satan be like, "Yo, don't want you. Stay there."
He'd be like, I guess the question is, do you want to go to hell? Well, do ya, punk?
I love Clint Eastwood. Can't stand his politics, but
his movies. I guess because my media teacher had said that people that have worked on sets of his movies, he does one take and that's it. He's like, okay, we got it, moving on.
Wow. The fact that he did Dirty Harry in one take.
No, not movies he's done. The ones he's
directed.
I could believe that, but then again, he's the type of guy you don't want to give him a bad performance because he might shoot you. I could believe him doing $1 Million Baby in one shot. I literally could. Because if I was Hillary Swank, I'd be scared of his ass too. So.
What the hell ever happened to her?
She actually is looking after her father. Her father got cancer a couple of years ago, and she stayed at home looking after him after Hollywood just kind of passed her by. But I think she's got a new TV show coming out in the fall, I think. Yeah, it's
Speaking of the
actually,
fall,
I learned it from YouTube.
Well, next week, we're going to talk TV.
Ooh, yeah.
We talk TV? We talk TV.
Lots of good TV coming back in the next few weeks.
Yeah, we've got new shows and returning shows, so there's going to be a lot of fun stuff to talk about.
I'm looking forward to my Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the Goldbergs. I'm going to try Supergirl again this season. Legends of Tomorrow. And
both of those are going to be better this season.
There was I'm going to do, for cartoons, I'm going to be following Star Wars Rebels, because the last two seasons have been phenomenal.
Yep.
Ninja Turtles I'll follow again. And
Ninja Turtles is on now, actually.
Yeah, I know. I just figured that out. I'm 17
Yeah,
episodes behind.
Yeah, season 4 is continuing now on Sunday mornings at 11 Eastern.
And I might try something new. I want to try something different. Actually, a show I wish I'd followed, but it premiered at a weird time, was an AMC show called Preacher, but I didn't get a chance to catch it, so maybe I'll try and catch up with it on DVR this fall. And Fear the Walking Dead and Walking Dead when that comes back. Because I need to know what happens, who Negan kills. So I have a feeling the answer is going to disappoint us no matter who it is. So, but anyway.
Yep. So, anything you guys want to bring up before we go?
Not really.
Once again, if you guys would love to help us out to get the Patreon for Terrible Warriors reaching its next big milestone, it's patreon.com/Terrible Warriors. New episodes begin this month, and until pretty much right through until next summer. I think we pretty much don't take a break, because I know we're recording 12 episodes of Ravenloft for D&D in 2 weeks, and then we record more Call of Cthulhu, more Star Wars Embers of the Jedi. I think we're doing Shadowrun. We might be doing some Pathfinder, and I'm recording a Ghostbusters game right now. So it'll be good stuff. So that's what I got. Plus the usual thisweekingeek.net stuff, and that's where you can find me.
As for me, you can support this show through that Patreon page, which is patreon.com/Steve Megatron. More so because I screwed up when I did the first one. And it was Altered Geek. I just don't know what any of this stuff was, and I didn't want to redo it once I built this one. So this has links to everything. I have no idea what I'm doing yet, but I have the page up. So if people want to contribute, that'd be awesome. If not, the stuff will still be free.
Never paywalled.
Yeah, I don't do paywall. I hate people that do that. I'm not one of them people. Like, I don't. If people want to contribute, awesome. If people don't, awesome. Yeah. Like, either way, I will survive.
Yep.
So, but I have all of the stuff linked on alteredgeek.com. You can find all of the different places to listen to the podcast. You can also find all of the video realms and places. There's also a spot on there for a contact us, which you can put your name, email, subject, and you can actually email right from the website to me, and it will go, if you have ideas of something to cover or whatnot. I also have like the latest live stream on there that I played, which is a couple weeks old now. But I keep the episodes updated on there after I upload them to Geekcast Radio. So yeah, just let me know what you guys think. And until next time, get altered, get geeky with the Altered Geeks.